I'm Kyle in the Sanctuary. This afternoon, I saw a video on the Contrarians YouTube channel where Martin Popoff did a video where he did his own build and sequencing of his ideal, or what would be his ideal, Led Zeppelin 1979 release of In Through the Outdoor. And he included the 3 outtakes that were released on Coda, which is fair. And I checked it out. I thought it was interesting. The way he put it together, he explained it all. And I'm going to put a link to his video in the description of this one, because I'm taking his idea and I'm going to run with it, because I've got my own idea of how I would sequence the album. And I would love for any Led Zeppelin fan to let me know what they think of my idea. In Through the Outdoor is a very contentious, sometimes dismissed album by fans of Led Zeppelin. But I think this is a good album. In the timeline of their career, they didn't know it was going to be their last album. It just happened to be that way. And with Coda, we got a little bit extra flavor of what they were doing. And for anybody that complains about In Through the Outdoor and Coda and the songs that were contained on it, and this includes Jimmy Page, the producer of In Through the Outdoor. The buck stops with him. He's on record as saying, "Oh, well, this record, the songs are, we're getting a little light and, a lot of keyboards and blah, blah, blah." Hey, man, once we got a taste of the outtakes that were on Coda, a lot of people were like, why weren't they put on In Through the Outdoor? Why wasn't In Through the Outdoor a different album than what we got? Yeah, Jimmy Page, why wasn't In Through the Outdoor a different album than what we got? All right, so listen, before I get to my track list for my ideal In Through the Outdoor, I put the songs that I picked together and put them in a playlist. I'm starting to do this now. So whenever I'm talking about songs and you're not familiar with it or you need to be refreshed on them, I put the songs in order the way I'm going to tell you here, because I wrote it all down, and I'm also going in accordance to how they would fit on an album side. So my side 1 should be about 19 minutes if my math is correct, and side 2 would be 17 minutes. Now, not only am I going to take Martin's concept and do my own ideal build, there's 3 songs that are not on my album, and I'm going to tell you what I would do with those, because let's not put those to waste either, because they're good. So I'm going to tell you what I would do with those at the end of this video. However, what I would do with those 3 songs, I would do before. I would release them before my ideal album, but here we go. All right. In Through the Outdoor, my ideal sequence. Side A is going to open up with South Bend Ceres. It's jaunty, it's upbeat, it's different, it's got a lot of flavor to it, and it's one of my all-time favorite Zeppelin songs. It's a great opener, and it's going to just let you glide right into the album. Number 2, Ozone Baby. Now, where South Bend Ceres is very piano heavy and, It's got Robert Plant doing vocal harmonies and stuff like that. Well, Ozone Baby continues that, minus the piano, and you get a lot of guitar overdubs. And Ozone Baby, to me, is a great sort of new wave type of track. It's a song that is very contemporary for the late 70s, but also is going to lead everybody into the 1980s. So, South Bend Cerez, into Ozone Baby, into Fool in the Rain. So we're keeping things sort of flowing, you know. And Fool in the Rain, the only criticism I really kind of have of this song is that the guitar solo lingers on a little bit longer than it should. But otherwise, you know, it's different. It's a breath of fresh air. It's Zeppelin, you know, in the late 70s. Being Zeppelin in a different way than that you would have expected. I think it's really good. And so side A is going to end with track 4, Darlene. So the side again, South Bend Cerez, Ozone Baby, Fool in the Rain, into Darlene. Darlene is sort of a riff-heavy, it's got jangly piano in it. It's sort of 50s-esque, but it's Zeppelin taking the 50s, riffing it out. It's not, you know, a formulaic, really. It's Zeppelin taking it, and each time they come back to the top, they twist it around again. I mean, Zeppelin was really good at that. Jimmy Page was really good at taking a riff and twisting it around all sorts of ways. And as Darlene goes on, it just sort of builds and builds and builds. And I think it's a great way to close the album, which, according to my math, would be 19 minutes. And so side B is going to open up with In the Evening. The reason I chose In the Evening is we're going to hearken back to Led Zeppelin 1. Led Zeppelin 1, as I've always said, is the template for every Led Zeppelin album afterwards. So like everything you're ever going to hear Led Zeppelin do in one way or another, you're going to hear on Led Zeppelin 1. And on Led Zeppelin 1, side B, it opens up with Your Time Is Gonna Come. And how does that song open up? Well, you hear this organ kind of fading in, and then boom, the track just kind of comes in and happens as it does with In the Evening. So it's kind of ominous, you know, and you get the phased out timpanis and Jimmy Page's guitar just, you know, very sort of ambient and sustaining and just doing these lines, and then Plant, you know, comes in with the vocal, and bam, the band kicks in. So it's a great display of Zeppelin being Zeppelin in the late 70s. So after In the Evening, I thought it would be good to go into I'm Gonna Crawl. It's got that synth opening, that sort of synth orchestra string sound into a nice little blues that kind of, after all the other types of songs that we heard, it kind of brings things down. But yet the song has a lot of dynamics to it. I like I'm Gonna Crawl. I don't think it's a song that necessarily should be dismissed. It has its own kind of thing going on with it. And, you know, it's just Zeppelin being Zeppelin. And then the last song, the song that's going to end the album, Wearing and Tearing. Boom. This is Zeppelin. Bam. okay, we've heard the contemporary Zeppelin with the keyboards and the pianos and, you know, the vocal arrangements and the all the guitars and everything. And this is getting down to just old school Zeppelin, showing you that they can still do it. It's just, you know, a powerhouse of a song. Bam! For everybody that complained about In Through the Outdoor being a light album and keyboard heavy and blah, 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 blah. There we go. Ending with Wearing and Tearing. So here's my track listing again. I think it works for an album format or even just a CD, right? So, side A, South Bend Cerez, Ozone Baby, Fool in the Rain, Darlene. Side B, In the Evening, I'm Gonna Crawl, and it ends with Wearing and Tearing. Now, obviously, people are asking, well, wait a minute, where's All My Love and the other songs? There's a couple other songs missing. Okay, well, I would take those 3 remaining songs and I would put them on an EP single. 2 songs on one side, 1 song on the other. I would release this EP before my version of In Through the Outdoor would be released. And so I would open up the EP with All My Love, and it would be followed by Hot Dog. And on the flip side would be Carouselambra. Now, I think this would be a solid CD. You've got, or EP rather, a solid release to promote what's going to come, because look at all the flavors that you got on here. All My Love. You've got just the quintessential song of the era. Radio friendly, a nice ballad. You've got keyboards and the bass and the drums and lots of guitars. You got acoustic guitars. You got electric guitars. You got Robert Plant writing some of the best lyrics he's ever written. Some of the best emotive singing of his own lyrics that you've ever heard. So, All My Love, boom, there you go. Wow. The new era of Zeppelin is here. Followed by Hot Dog. Now, the studio version of Hot Dog, people want to dismiss it. I don't think it should be dismissed. It's a 50s era rock and roll, honky tonk kind of song. That's what, you know, that's where they came from. That's what got them interested in music. I think the studio version of Hot Dog is the best version. Live, so much, not really. Okay, I'll admit that. Hot Dog live was never that great. But the studio version, I think, is fine. I think it's got some of the best, you know, styling of piano from John Paul Jones in that vein that you're ever going to hear him do. You know, and you got Plant vocalizing, harmonizing with himself. You got Jimmy Page doing his best rock and roll guitar playing. It's not bad. You know, it's a goofy song, sure. But is it really that bad? No, when you listen to the studio version. And Carouselambra, I mean, really encompasses where Zeppelin was at in the late 70s when they were making this album. I mean, it sort of takes where they were heading, where they've been. It's all there. And Carouselambra, You got the keyboards going on. You got those dense guitars. You got all these guitars going on. Plus, you've got some great lyrics by Plant. It really is, something to behold. And I think it would have ushered in this era of Zeppelin into the 80s. Again, I've always said it, Into the Outdoor would show everybody what Zeppelin would sound like solo in the 80s. Robert Plant's voice on this record is exactly the way you'd hear it in his early MTV hits. Jimmy Page would take the way he recorded his guitars on Into the Outdoor, exactly the way you'd hear him on The Firm and his solo album, and because that's the way he does it. And I think this EP single, All My Love, Hot Dog, Carousel Alhambra, to release these songs on an EP before my ideal album would really get people amped up. Wow, what's next? What's the album going to sound like? And what would the album sound like? I'm going to run through my song list just one more time. My ideal Into the Outdoor album would be this: South Bend Cerez, Ozone Baby, Fool in the Rain, Darlene, Flipside, In the Evening, I'm Gonna Crawl, and ends with Wearin' and Tearin'. Again, I want to thank Martin Popoff, famed critic and author, for doing the video, giving me the idea, because while I enjoyed his, I thought my sequencing was more interesting to me. Plus, I figured, let me reuse those extra songs and give something else to the people. So there you go. What do you think? Are you a Zeppelin fan? So again, I have a playlist in order the way I gave it, so you can listen to it yourself and see how it flows to your ears. Let me know in the comments. And if you're new to this channel, which I know a lot of people are according to my analytics, people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So please subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it to somebody who might like it, and never be afraid to enter the pleasure den of the absurd.